ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Okay, so I'll read the next verse and then we'll get into the discussion. So we are in that part of Vivekachudamani where the Jiva part was clarified by saying the essence of Jiva is basically minus those Panchakosha. You remove all those koshas, all the bodies, everything. What remains is Jiva, is what was pointed out. Now on the right side of the equation, Tat, which is the ultimate cause, the presupposed cause, was already defined as that which is ever existing and which is all pervading. So that was already mentioned. And now the equation Tat Tvamasi is being examined, and that's what is being discussed at this point in time. Basically, the Aikya Vakya is being discussed. So last time also we saw that it was mentioned that Shruti says in many places that Tat Tvamasi is the crux of Vedanta. It brings this word Tat Tvamasi in as many places as possible to stress that Aikya is the goal of moksha. So this verse 75 and I think it is 244 in the original work. So in our 108 verses we are seeing this as 75th one. This continues with that Aikyam concept only. If we see Aikyam tayoho lakshitayor na vachyayoho nigadhyate anyonya viruddha dharminoho khadyota bhanvoriva rajabhrityayoho kupambu rashyoho paramanu mervoho. So it is saying that when you see the literal comparison of Tat versus Tvam, Tat is Nityavastu Vekam Brahma, Tad Vidiriktam Sarvamanityam, Ayameva Nitya Nityavastu Vivekaha. During Viveka, we fix the ultimate cause as Brahman, and we presuppose there at that point in time that this is just one thing that exists, Nityavastu Ekam. That Nityavastu is just one. Apart from that, everything else is Anityam. The word Anityam always is from the standpoint of time. It exists at a particular point in time, keeps changing, is subject to Shadvikara. Over a period, it will cease to exist, is what was mentioned. From a science perspective, if you see, things do come, they depreciate, and while they depreciate, they are getting converted into something else. Matter is converted into energy. So you have matter and you have energy. So matter is something which is gross, probably we can see, as long as it can be sensed through our sense organs. And all knowledge what we talk about normally is from our sensory perception of this jiva. We don't worry if an amoeba is able to see something else better than us, because we cannot understand that more. But inferentially, from science, we understand that amoeba definitely can see things are which much smaller than some of the other microorganisms, and human eye cannot see that. Similarly, something quite big, we can't understand it. So these are the limitations. So now matter and energy I think the knowledge about this is available in science as well. Now, science still says that matter can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted into energy. So that's what is said there. But now you bring in the idea of matter and antimatter, which again science says. So from a mathematical perspective, you have minus A, you have plus A, matter, antimatter. From a mathematics perspective, logically, when they come together, when they happen to come together, it will become zero. So this way we can understand that matter can become no matter in some time. Again, it's time. So at a particular point when they come together, they can get neutralized. So many a times I think food and person, when they are kept together, they can get neutralized over a period of time. So this can happen. One example is you have hydrogen, you have oxygen. Now, it only takes one flash wherein hydrogen can burn, oxygen will support that burning. So that spark as well as hydrogen and oxygen, all these will be gone. And you can say it may get converted into heat, and heat would be doing something, and it may move something from here to there. In the context of space, something getting moved from here to there has some relevance. For example, when you expand a rubber band, it's not that you have just expanded, you have created some kind of a potential force there actually. When you leave it, it becomes a kinetic energy, then it just goes back. That also happens. So a simple movement in space has some relevance. So if you have to see the crux of this, the holistic view of this, minus A plus A as matter becomes zero, and even when it is energy, when you see there is something called scalar and vector. Scalar is something where it is not directional, but normally energy has a direction. So when you have an energy, you will have equally opposite stuff as well actually. Newton's third law of motion. So when you have things happening, you have things on both the sides actually. So when you see vector, you have one energy flowing towards this side, which you can say is minus A on this side, and you have another one flowing on the other side, which is plus A. Again, when these quantum obviously remains the same, when they come together, they also nullify. So this way Jagat definitely can nullify. So that is what Anitya Vastu is all about. Nitya Vastu Vekam Brahma, that it was mentioned very clearly, it always exists beyond time, beyond space. It was mentioned. When it came to Jiva, it was mentioned that minus this Panchakosha, Atma, the witness, which is to a larger extent by inference kind of understood in the context of Sushupti. That Atma is also Sachidananda. It exists. So in Tattva Bodha, the way Atma was defined as Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirad Vyatirikta Panchakosha Atita San Avastha Traya Sakshi Sachidananda Swarupaha Sanyastishtati Sa Atma. The one which fits all these qualities, properties is Atma. So it is beyond the five kosha, and it's beyond three bodies, and it's beyond three states, and it is of the nature of Sachidananda Swarupa. That is Atma. So Atma is also mentioned this way. Now a logical question has to come. When Atma is also presented as that which basically survives time, survives space. It has no spatial limitation. It has no time-bound limitation at all. It is not bound by time. It is not bound by space. This is how Atma is presented. And Atma is the subject, the one who is inquiring. It is about him. That's very important. Though Shruti has taken a lot of time to really make us understand this Jiva is not body. This Jiva is not mind. This Jiva is not intellect. This Jiva is incidentally endowed with these karana. These are only tools incidentally available, and the Jiva is seemingly associated with one set of tool. And the tool is an amazing tool, there is no doubt about it. It's such an amazing tool that it takes a toll on Jiva. It gives such a nice feeling that this tool is an independent thing. And it has its own that I-ness, the owner. It gives this feeling. So, somewhere, the real owner, who's actually free, he feels he is stuck in this because the tool is really great. There is no doubt about the tool. The only thing Shastra is saying is you enjoy this, use that, you can watch a movie using this Antakarana, and you can enjoy every sense that's possible here, sensory pleasure that is possible here in this world, no problem. Of course, the other side of the coin is pain. When you have pleasure, you will equally have pain as well. So mind normally understands pleasure and pain that way only. But Shastra says that you feel that your wellness or your ananda is attached to this tool. This tool being in a particular state of mind, in a particular state. So it's quite hot, and this tool says that no, I need AC. When the AC is switched on, temperature in 24, happy. So Shastra comes and says, boss, please understand, this Sthula Shukshma Karana Sharira, they are bodies. Temperature is a tattva which is related to material and energy, matter and energy. Because these are all three bodies. Bodies made out of anna, which is material. Incidentally, I had this link, anatomy is annamaya. Mind is manomaya. Somehow the initial sound, they are kind of correlating. Anatomy is annamaya. Mind is manomaya. So basically, these tools, they are born out of this world only, sustained by this world only. Channena jivati vinashyati tadvihinaha. It was mentioned there in one of the lines. That it is, this entire annamaya, this body is made of anna, and it sustains only through this anna. When the anna is not given, it decays. So Shadvikara, the last portion, will happen. So that's what it was mentioned as. So, minus all these things, remove all these connections, you are using this as a tool. So, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharira, they are available, is fine. Don't get entangled into this tool. Stay away from them, observe them as they are. Do not switch the identity to them. This is what Shastra is saying. By saying that, it's creating the distance between us and the tool which we own, for which we give Aadhaar card, PAN card, license, driver license, everything. The moment KYC is given, normally a Vedanti after the session should say, Aham Brahmasmi, for which you can't give any picture. Obviously, you will not get any loan after that, that's a different thing. Transactionary world is different. So, Shastra says that understand these to be tool, Understand things as they are. Do not give credence to anything more than what you should give it. These things come and go. Understand yourself to be the continuing witness. Name it as Atma for the time being, because that is you. Straight away, that's you. Give that name Atma. And proceed in the discussion. And for that, it is giving Sushupti as the main anchor point, where inferentially it says, now when you are awake, when you get out of the deep sleep, please recognize that you did not sense anything during the deep sleep when dream was not there, which means mind was resolved, which means when mind is active, you have all other things being sensed and it's happening. And when there is a situation when mind is also completely resolved, so anything that comes and goes is like a guest. The host should not get confused with that. So supposing you are there at home and someone comes goes, either friends or relatives, that keeps happening. But the person who's permanent kind of there, in the sense of permanent, is the host. The person who stays in that particular home, he is there. I mean, with reference to him only, the word guest is having any meaning at all. Otherwise, then everyone will be the same. No. Of course, in Vedanta, that's what we are going towards. But in the world of mind, we have to have different words to explain different things. So the Shastra is giving that experience of Sushupti to change our fixed identity, our fixed ideas, one of those fixed ideas, and it's creating an opportunity to think and create a space between this jiva and the tools which it is endowed with. That's what Shastra is giving that idea. Shastra knows there is a space available there, and that's a kind of unconscious space which, unless spelt out, may not be reveled upon or recalled by jiva. This is where Shruti has to come to really help us. When you are kind of in anesthesia, you do not know what all you did during that time. Normally you will be inactive, but then even if you happen to do something, for example, if there was fits, you would not know that you had fits during that time. Someone next to you, like a nurse or doctor, has to see that, and they have to give you the account later, saying that no, maybe after the surgery, in your post-recovery period, you had fits. That probably you will come to know only when they say, because you would have been still in the influence of anesthesia. So like that, there has to be a third umpire who has to say what happened when mind was resolved. There has to be another person who has to come and say that, hey, please understand, you didn't sense anything during that time. Do you get this subtle sense that mind can completely resolve and it can completely go to kind of unmanifest form for some time? That's what happened. So that's where you understand that's a guest, you are the host. So the third umpire, since it's able to see, it's able to come and tell us saying, you were in anesthesia, but I can tell you this what happened. It's telling this. So to that extent only we should take the message of Shruti. It is only trying to create that difference. It is just looking for all those space where it can create a space between jiva and between everything else which jiva is identifying wrongly itself with. This is what Shastra is saying. Shastra को एक जगह चाहिए घुसने के लिए. वो जगह जहाँ पर भी जगह मिल रहा है, Shastra is just using that particular place. Shruti Mata is saying, hey, please note this point, observe, create a space there. And creating a space is a great word actually. Once you create the space, everything that is after this space, where you understand all these three to be karanas, tools available in your hand, the problem of tool becomes that of the tool, not of the owner of the tool. Shariram is idam, na aham. Shariram is idam, this body, not I am the body. This is my body. So there has to be difference between body and me, the owner. This is what Shastra is talking about. Now, this line what we read just now is basically trying to say that from common sense, when probably in the first class itself, if someone is told about this Aikya, they will only laugh. So a person comes to Vedanta session and you tell him that you are God. So he will say, oh God, God forbid, don't say this. He will say this actually because the sense of smallness, the sense of being limited is well entrenched. No one needs to give any more motivational speech to make one feel that he is a limited being, because it's quite his understanding, and that's the understanding with which he comes. In that understanding, if you say based on that understanding, no, you are God, he will say, oh God, don't tell me, because God is everything. He has created everything and I'm such a small thing. How can you even equate me to God? So this would be the statement. So here, that is what is taken. Even after so much of analysis, one has to bring out statements from the angle of a layman and clarify them. So this verse is attempting that only. So what it is saying, normally when something is said, especially in contextual things like this, you can't go by the literal meaning of the words which is mentioned. You have to go with the implied meaning. Only the implied meaning will give you the right perspective and the right result. The immediate meaning will not give the right result. So all said and done, ignorance can be erased only through knowledge. And knowledge involves words. The moment words comes into play, there can be many interpretations, and there will be a word play, and there will be one's word against another's word. All this will happen. That's the reason interpretation comes into picture. So there, acharyas have brought in certain rules, how things should be seen. That's what the whole Mimamsa Shastra is about, how things should be interpreted. And they use all these rules to deliver what Shastra has to give. So if someone has a doubt, okay, if is really Shastra saying that one is everything, one is the Jiva is Parama? Yes. Unequivocally it says. All these punchlines in Upanishads, what you see as Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. Tattvamasi, that is you. In different context it is said. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahmasi, all that is here is Brahman only. And Brahma Advitiyam. Brahman is, without a second. Brahma Advitiyam. So all these words you find in Shastra, it is said as a punchline. After giving the background, these are revealing statements. So if someone has a doubt, is this mentioned in Shastra? Definitely it is mentioned in Shastra. These are direct meaning actually. And that is the purport of Shastra. The entire teaching methodology, including the Upanishad, the way it is structured as well, is to take one person from the wrong identification with the fixed ideas which mind normally gets default during birth. These have to be corrected, and the correction only happens as a process from start to end. The end part is moksha once one understands this Aikya. So Aikya is very important. Not that Aikya brand. Aikyam is very, very important. And that's the objective of, that's the goal of Shastra. So this is the structure in which, the teaching methodology is. So now it is saying that go by the implied meaning and not by the immediate meaning. I've sent one picture. I just wrote it down. This is from psychology normally. In your WhatsApp chat, if you see, you can just see that. I'll give you a minute if you have a chance to see your WhatsApp. Yeah, now I'll say. See, there are two lines drawn there, and some of you would have already seen this actually. I think this may be a typical thing, which probably this is the some of the basics of psychology about illusion. If you see the lines, they are of the same size. So take on the left side what we have, where the arrow is downwards, inwards. Compare that to be Jiva, and take the right one to be Parama. Now, if people are said, Tattvamasi, this is equal to, right side is equal to left side, if it is said, I think from a sensory perception we will say, no, they are not equal. That's what we will say. That's where Shastra is already trying to say that, okay, on the left side, remove that inwards, going arrow, whatever you have on both the ends, remove that. That is what Panchakosha is all about. And it arrives at Atma there. On the right side, whatever creation is happening after Maya, Mahat. So remove all that. So that is the outward going arrow. So remove that and remove this Panchakosha here. The lines are same. And removal is not physical. It is cognitive. That's why Shastra is able to deliver it, because with words, it can create a vritti, thought modification in one's mind, which goes and corrects the wrong understanding. Every vritti creates an understanding, right or wrong. We have known that before coming to Shastra, all our vrittis have given us only wrong understanding whatsoever, using every sense that we had. And we had to undo all these things coming to Shastra, starting with Sadhana Chatushtaya. And Sadhana Chatushtaya is the point where we are taking the U-turn. And when you take a U-turn, obviously you pause somewhere, and then that's where the course correction is happening actually. So it's starting from sadhana, where you are starting to neutralize those impressions as much as possible through sadhana, and the rest of it, which is more concentrated ignorance, can be killed only through knowledge by Shastra. So the balance is handled that way. So vichara and this knowledge will remove that. So this is cognitive. We don't have to suppress sun, suppress moon, compress the entire world to make it unmanifest. And then from that unmanifest also, you can't do anything more than that, because in any case it's unmanifest. So after that, what will you do? But still, that Triguna, Maya, will be potent within that actually. It will be only unmanifest. It can manifest any time. So it will be only unmanifest. So, in the literal sense, you can't make the world become invisible to appreciate that the Lord is without any of this guna. We can't do that. Simply on the right side, just see that without those outward going arrows. On the left side, Panchakosha, after every class, if Annamaya is not us, as I said in the previous version as well, we can't say, fine, next time I'm coming without the body to class. No, that doesn't work that way. You still work with the body and mind only until the time Aikya happens. Because you have to bring that guy where ignorance is located. It is located in Annamaya, it is located in Manomaya, you can say. And from there, you have to bring it down to, which is packed in Annamaya. This Annamaya has to always come, because this unfortunately has this guy who is confused. And that confused guy, if he has to be ferried, he is already packed here. So that pack, because of that immediate link, this body has to travel. If you ask me, body has no ignorance, because it is jada. It was food outside, it is food inside now, that's all. It is jada. And that jada will keep thinking, yaar, hamara kuch lene dena hi nahi hai, and I have to go to the class. Just imagine, this will be the idea of body. In fact, mind also is the same thing. The only thing is mind has the ability to project, it is independent, it is sensing, it is doing, it is a complete nonsense. But then it says that I am a sensory guy, I do this, I sense this, I do all this. And that I sense this, that's where the problem is actually. So it is not that the arrow, which is that inside part, which is Panchakosha, can be literally removed, and layer by layer we come to the class, and then minus this Maya, that Maya, that Maya, that Maya, and everything gone. After that, there is no student also, even no one to say bye also, or say Om Shanti Mantra also. I say nahi hota. That arrow remove cognitively on the left side, which is Jiva. Remove that, it becomes Atma very clearly, minus Panchakosha. Right side, outward moving arrow, remove it. That is Brahman. When you do this, they are already equal. This is what Shastra is saying. There is nothing more than this actually. One has to only understand this. And Aikya is so important. That's where the chance of ignorance and wrong understanding and wrong identification coming back just becomes zero. It becomes zero. It is just digital. That's where it is digital. Until this point, whatever we have been learning, it can be an incremental learning to kill the wrong fixation, the wrong conditioning, the wrong identification, whatever we have been holding till now. It is gradual and it is incremental. But when Aikya happens, it's not necessary that when we discuss Aikya topic, it has to happen. Not necessary. When you assimilate, when you chew them, after listening to them in your own free time, whenever it is, when you try to assimilate the crux and the implied meaning of what Shastra is delivering, in that inquiry alone this happens. Thoughts, wrong thoughts, they are replaced by right thoughts. Right thoughts are created by the right body of knowledge. Shastra is beyond doubt the right body of knowledge that we have already acknowledged as a part of Shraddha itself. We have Shraddha in Shastra, we have handed over ourselves to Shruti Mata, surrendered to her, saying that I have done everything what I was supposed to do, or I have done everything what I could do to be happy, but I feel that samsara gives problems as well. That's where I am little worried. I want to understand which one is permanent. Is dukkha permanent or sukha permanent? Is there a temporary phenomenon involved in any of these things? What is that? Is there something permanent? And who is this who is questioning all these things? Who am I? The one who is undergoing all these things. So with all these doubts, we have come to Shastra, handed over ourselves to Shruti Mata, saying that, hey Shruti Mata, please teach me this. And Shruti undoubtedly has all these verses, all this knowledge in the form of Shabda, and that is what is getting delivered to us. The Shabda can create the right vritti, which can neutralize the wrong understanding. Since it was already presented earlier that the root cause is ajnana, ignorance, the answer for that, the antidote to that for that happens to be jnana. A wrong understanding was presented as the root cause. Obviously, right understanding would be the antidote to that problem. And right understanding is being delivered by Shastra, and since it is in the form of words and not an illustration like picture, we have to only operate mind through which this can happen. Always mind only has to be operated, even if it was pictorially available as well. But here it is a little bit more, because since it is Shastra, it is in the form of words. Inquiry becomes the main process. That's why Vastu Siddhihi Vicharena Na Kinchit Karma Koti Bihi. Action does not fetch the vastu. What kind of vastu? Totality, Brahman. I cannot understand Brahman through actions. If at all attending a class is an action, so be it. To that extent, it's okay. But while attending the class, what's actually happening and the one which is really helping is vichara. Like I think Swamiji somewhere mentioned that certain things are sahakarinaha, certain things are supportive, necessary supports. But what is the crux? For example, in terms of cooking, it is basically the heat that cooks. The vessel and the firewood, everything else is all, sahakarinaha. They are there to support. But tattva wise, what is actually cooking that particular food is heat. Similarly, in Shastra, while doing vichara only, you will get that cognitive change, that deconditioning, that piece of information, that piece of understanding which deconditions yourself, removes the wrong understanding. That is the output of vichara. Since that comes only through vichara becomes inevitable. So, cognitively, when you remove the arrows on left side and when you remove the arrows on right side, they are already equal. And the beauty is, it is a सिद्ध विषय. अरे ये पहले भी तो लाइन उतना ही तो था. हाँ था तो सही, बट आपको अलग दिख रहा था कि नहीं दिख रहा था? लेफ्ट साइड छोटा, राइट साइड बड़ा, लंबा, जो भी है, दिख रहा था? यस, दिख रहा था. अभी आपको बता दिया मैंने, हाँ ठीक है. Now you have told me this, and I removed it cognitively. Now, are you saying they are equal? Yes, they are equal. Then Shastra can question, now how are you saying they are equal? I have not removed the arrows as such. Then of course I think the person himself can say, no, you don't have to remove me. Cognitively I have understood. You asked me to do vichara. I did it. I have done it now. So you can't now convince me, in fact the other way, that one of them is longer in size, longer in length than the other one. Even Shastra cannot convince. Once this Aikya happens, in the next session when Shastra comes back and says that, hey, do you see that the right one is longer than the left one? Your question will be, no, I am very clear. Yes, seemingly it is like that, that is fine. But I know it is not any longer different. So you cannot play any more tricks on me. My condition is changed, my conditioning is taken care of. You cannot recondition me. That's all. This would be the answer of that Jiva who already understood himself as Ishvara or Parama or Brahma. Aikyam is that. The moment you have Aikyam, you don't need any validation from anyone. You will already know it that you know. Aham Brahmasmi is a vritti that everyone will very clearly understand when they have this Aikya, wherein every conditioning that was created prior to this vichara, prior to this being revealed by Shastra, all this are completely neutralized. And the Dehatma Buddhi, which was the basic issue, gets addressed in totality, without any residual ignorance and even a chance of ignorance to come back. This is what Aikya is all about. This is what one has to understand when Aikya is being mentioned here. And one need not worry if they have still not reached that stage. Even after reading this until here, thus far, it is not problem. It is not at all a problem. We have time. There is always time available when, the vichara can continue. Even if one finishes one Upanishad, where Aikya has already spoken about, maybe their speed is not as fast as what Upanishad is delivering. However, the base would have been already created in them. That Upanishad would have already deconditioned them from some of their fixed ideas and notions. For example, if you put a percentage, it would have already helped them 60%. The Upanishad would have progressed up to 100%. But in them, the real impact would have been 60%. Good, no problem. Until this 40% happens, either they have to read the same thing, keep inquiring, ask doubts so that you finish the balance 40%, or if you feel there is another model which is there, go to another Upanishad, read that again. Some of those which may not be probably covered in a particular angle, there it could be covered much more, little bit in a different way, just in a different way that may appeal. So try. So in this pursuit, you have to keep listening to Shastra. There is no other way. There is no other way. You have to be only with Shastra. Be with Shruti Mata all the time. Seek the blessings, follow Sadhana Chatushtaya, and be with the Sampradaya. Keep listening. That's the only way. Quitting is not the way. So you, for example, come 90% and say, no, there's some difficulty, I don't know why, then you quit. That becomes very unfortunate. There's a story about a person actually who was given a kind of prayashchit probably. He was supposed to do abhishek on some deity for 108 times. After which probably he would gain something, either a release from somewhere or release from some problems or whatever. So it's a physical activity which can involve effort and pain, frustrations, whatever. So if just imagine that you have to carry one pot of milk every time and scale some 1,000 steps where the murti is, and water sources, not water, I'm sorry, milk source is available only at the base. So if he has to scale these 1,000 steps all the time and then do that abhisheka, somewhere he gets tired, and even if he gets tired on the 108th one, so we call it, actually there is a saying we say, நூத்தி எட்டாவது குடத்தை போட்டு உடைச்ச மாதிரி, we say in Tamil. So he says that a person who has been enduring all the way gets frustrated ultimately in that 108th one, and he says, boss, बाहर में जाना तो मुझे कुछ नहीं करना अभी, had it enough. That will be a great loss actually. Having crossed 107, 108 has to be attempted, completed. So here, whatever we listen from Shastra, it definitely gives us an irreversible knowledge, because Shastra keeps on removing the fixed conditionings which we have by default. And also which we have developed over a period of time, much more than what we had right at the beginning when we were born. So this keeps happening. However, unless that balance percentage, if you are at 60%, the balance percentage has to be clear. The last 0.00001% of doubt is still a doubt and that is enough to give another birth. And again you are born A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 plus 1 is 2. Just imagine all this you have to learn. So that's what one has to remember. If one has already achieved a particular level, complete that with Aikya. The moment you complete with Aikya, just like the illustration what I have given, even if Shruti Mata comes and says the next day, by the way, it wants to fox you, saying that, hey, did you see that picture, what I sent you? And don't you think they are different size? So one has to be very, very cautious, very clear, saying that no, I cannot be foxed, because I have been told, I have been already taught. So I cannot get into a wrong thinking now, because the right thinking has been already given to me. Wrong thinking is gone for good. I will not get confused even if you attempt. Even if you attempt, it will not be confusing to me at all. I will not get confused. That is Aikya. That is the status of Aikya. When Jiva understands oneself to be Parama, and in Jiva's understanding, he is away from all these three bodies, three states, and he is of the nature of Satchidananda Swarupa, he is Atma. And he understands that, yes, Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma, he is Ekam. Since he is Ekam, he is also everywhere, he is also everything. Atma is also everywhere, Atma is also everything. No more we need to discuss anything. Atma is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. That's all. This is Aikya. Once this Aikya happens, no more discussions. That's the status of real knowledge, real outcome of this teaching, the pursuit. Fine. So I am through with what I wanted to say. I open the session for discussions. Anyone can raise hand, anyone can ask questions. You're all still absorbing, it's okay. It's okay. So, I do not want to hurry up to the next verse today. In case there is no discussion, we can complete the session also.
This is bit, I think, intense. Today,
Your voice is breaking, Manishji.
I'm saying that today's voice was today it was very so.
Okay. So there's some disturbance. Probably I'm not able to hear you. Others are they able to hear? I'm not sure.
No, not here. I'm not also able to hear.
Can you hear me now?
It was better a little bit now.
I was saying it is pretty intense.
Yes, because we are reaching towards the goal. So you can imagine, right? When you have a 400 meters run, the intensity when you start and the last mile what you have to reach, there the effort is even more. The motivation that is required is even more. The grit that is required is even more. So that's what is happening here, because we are now going towards that point which is the goal actually, and it will be intense, and that's where one has to gather enough energy, keep motivated and reach it. And here the best thing is that once you get it there is no return actually. You just get it for good. Last you remember somewhere maybe 20 years back, in Olympics, in 100 meters run, Ben Johnson was the first one. I think he in the sprint actually, he scaled I think that distance in maybe 9 seconds, 9 point some seconds, just less than 10 seconds, and he was given the gold medal. 2 days later he was stripped of the gold medal because he was found to be positive for some drugs. So in those cases, in all worldly pursuits, one can be given a title, given a medal, everything, given award, and after that they may be stripped of that as well. This can happen. But the best thing in Atma Vichara and Atma Jnana is that one gets oneself minus all those conditionings. That's what happens, and that's an irreversible thing. So that's one good thing about Atma Vichara. You get it for good. That line is very nice, you get it for good. Fine. So as I said, the contemplation has to continue, and the strength of Vichara has to continue. For that, the dosage of Mumukshutvam has to be 100%. It cannot be anything short of 100%. It has to be 100%. And the sadhana has to continue. Mind control has to continue. Shamodama, Uparamaste Tiksha, Shraddha Samadhanam. Everything has to continue. And Shraddha is very important. When things get very difficult, we may say, forget Vedanta, it's very difficult. We should not do that. Having come to Vedanta, one should complete it. That's all. Okay, we'll conclude the session by chanting Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat पूर्णम् उदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम
Hari Om.
enjoy Navratri all of you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Master.